Go for it,
Because
Kelvin. Let's do it. Let's talk.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so yeah, welcome everyone to my Dublin DevRel Meetup talk. Um, I'm really excited to be here because it's my first DevRel talk. I've given a lot of talks, but nothing on DevRel specifically. So I'm excited about this one. So I'm mostly going to be talk about how I approach DevRel, the lessons I've learned, the strategies I've used, and the impact I've seen so far in my job. And speaking about my job and myself, my name is Kelvin. I'm a JavaScript engineer and DevRel at Treble. So Treble is a REST API based monitoring and observability platform. I tweet a lot about JavaScript, quite a lot. I have a YouTube, as Richard has said before, so you could go check it out. So a little history about me. I started my career off as a front-end engineer. I've been working with Vue.js as my very first job, and it was really interesting because I found out that I like sharing what I'm working on in terms of if I solve a problem, I want to share with people. So I started writing and tweeting not so often, except recently. So after that job, I moved on to being a freelancer and an IC. I was in charge of building like a full stack app for several projects, which have to do with the back end and the front end and everything. I found out new technologies along that line. And again, I also wanted to share because if I solve a problem, I feel it's just right to share for any developer that might have that same problem. So I write a lot. So that got me into techno writing. I started doing it professionally, writing for publications like Smashing Magazine, Log Rocket, and a couple of others. And of course, on Medium and my blog right now. And after that, I started diving into okay, I love teaching developers. Let's do this more professionally, right? So I made a platform, salesguys.com, which teaches full stack JavaScript with the Sales.js framework. So that got me to be an educator, right? And while doing that, I was working with this tech called Sales, and the maker of the platform of the tech saw my interest how keen I was at teaching people the tech. And when he started the company, he reached out to me to be their first DevRel hire, and that was how I got like a professional DevRel job. Because at that point in my career, I wanted to get into DevRel because I have been doing it more without a title all through. And I just felt that was the next step for me because I love developer tools. I love teaching developer. So I was ever at a security company for a while before my current job at Trouble, where I'm doing JavaScript and DevRel. So what does developer relations mean to me? Well, one, for in my books, for you to be an effective DevRel, I find that you're a person that like to shout about the tech. You know, there's certain people that would use the tech and the tech works well for them. They want to tell everybody about it, and that sort of play to the strength of what make a good DevRel. Because once you are working, you're developing for products. It's not a problem for you to shout about it. You could tweet about it. You could write about it. You could tell everybody that care to listen about it. And most times when we do DevRel, we tend to forget that you are a mediator, right? You are the in between the developers building the product and the developers using the product. So most often we lean strongly on the developers using the products and tend to forget that we also have to mediate and get the feedback across from the developers using the product to those that are building the product. So you are there, you're to mediate, you have to have that balance. And I think of DevRel as a person who loves the product. As Jesse Langstoff said, he said, the love for the tech would actually make you be an effective and impactful DevRel. You don't just have to like the tech, you have to have this love for it because it's genuinely solve a problem that you care about. So let's talk about lessons. What I've learned. And most of these lessons I've learned from people that are also in DevRel that I look up to, like Tijas, Kumar, Jesse Langstoff, Hassan, who is a DevRel at Vercel. So I came up with this term from Lord of the Rings, Sauron. as a DevRel, I see you as an all-seeing eye of the product. I know there's different kind of DevRel, but the sort of DevRel that I really enjoy is where you know the products more than the people that are using it. Because of course, for you to have value to them, you need to know more than the surface, right? So I call DevRels the all-seeing eye of the product. And unlike marketing, right? Marketing talks about features. Developers have to talk about benefits because developers don't really care if you have 1,000 features. What they care about is what is the benefit of your product to what I'm currently doing. Okay, so you don't tell them about features, you tell them about benefits. And you show and you don't tell. Okay, because if I tell you that Treble does API monitoring, what is API monitoring, right? But if I show you how it works, right? I do a video, of course, I've done several of those. I give a walkthrough, I paint an analysis for you, you would understand it better. Okay. And most time I see most people when they try to pitch developers or try to get them to use their product or try to like say, hey, this would help you. Most times we're telling them or showing them perceived pain points as opposed to actual pain points. So sometimes we're trying to like to solve a symptom and not the problem, the underlying cause. So that's the thing you need to know. Are you telling them about the perceived problem, or are you assuming that okay, this is developers have XYZ problem, but in reality they might not have that at all. You might just try to solve a symptom than the actual problem. And yeah, building in public really helps. It has helped me both personally for my personal brand to get developers to trust me as someone who they can listen to because I have a philosophy that I only talk about tech that I personally use or know about, and I don't just tell you, okay, use this because someone tell me that okay, they're good. I have gone a sort of like a reputation that I talk about tech that are really interesting and I've used, and I'm telling you because I'm gonna use it if I have the same problem that you have. So building in public does something for your company or for you as a DevRel. So if you're working like on maybe like a demo or whatever, you get early feedback, and so that makes you not to build in isolation. So the feedback will tend to drive the product or whatever you're building. And you also carry your developers along. Okay. You tell a story. So people like seeing the move, the progress instead of you to just come, okay, hey, I've built XYZ. When they see the story, they love it, and you be a great storyteller as you do that. So that's what the lessons. Then what about the strategies that I've employed? I like talking to users. In this case, our users are developers working with APIs and backends and stuff. So CTOs or team lead. So I talk to them on different channels, Discord, Twitter. I'm always on Twitter Spaces, and I listen to their pain points and I try to like have that to affect what we do at Trouble. And I share what I work on a lot because I find that doing so get people excited. There's like, okay, I ask for feedback. Hey, what should I call this doc, for example, or something like that? Or we're building this. What do you think? So you share what you're working on. You talk to your users, and often most dev teams or DevRel teams want to get new users, and in the bid to do that, you sort of forget that your existing customers are the people who are going to shout out about your product the more because they're treated well, you value them, you don't just acquire them and you be like, okay, let's go get some new one. So I like to focus on the existing customers. Of course, you're going to get new people to adopt the product, but focusing on them makes them your fan. And when they're your fans, they are going to tell their friends. And of course, you have the network effect going on for you. So build trust by showing expertise in your chosen industry. So the way to do that is to educate genuinely. Whatever industry you're in, you want to be seen as okay, you're giving this knowledge that actually, because like I said, the users of Troubles are builders of APIs. So if we educate people on how to build good APIs and best practices, they want to trust us. when we build, because of course we'll be sharing this knowledge that they've used to make themselves better engineers or build whatever they're building much more nicer. So impact, and these impacts, they are in progression, so there's still so much more to do and so much more to come. But so far, we'll be able to build trust in the Treble or the API community by genuinely being helpful. I'm talking about Twitter, Discourse, articles, and a ton of other stuff we do to make sure that we genuinely help people with their API problems. So before I joined Treble, the engagement wasn't all that great, but right now we've built really great engagement with like Twitter Spaces, teaching people API things and genuinely sharing good information that they care about. So that has increased the engagement on Twitter, and we're working on other channels as well. So our SDK are open source packages in different languages that lets you integrate Treble to your APIs, right? So I made sure the SDKs for JavaScript, which I'm in charge on, I make sure that the SDK are tailored to what the developers are used to. So if you're using Express, we have a custom SDK that will work with Express. If you're using Fastify or anything, so we want to make sure that the SDK integrates nice with your project instead of giving you like a catch-up. And we've been told our docs are amazing, and it's been shared severally on Twitter how easy anyone can come to the Treble docs and understand what they want to do. So these are key takeaways you can take away from this talk. Number one, this is a quote from Jason Longstaff. He said, developers are excited about what they are trying to solve right now. So if you can meet them at that place and you could tailor your technology, your content to what they're trying to solve, they're going to love you. Listen, most times we just want to tell the developers everything, that my product is great, but they want to also tell you what they want, what they need. So you have to listen genuinely, not listening to answer, but listening to understand. Network. Attend meetups like this one. Connect. Talk about what you're doing. Listen, of course, and just be a nice person networking amongst your peers. Collaborate. I find out the best collaborations are where my interests intersect with your interests or whoever you're trying to collaborate with. And these questions are the questions that I find that matters when you're doing DevRel. Number one, how many people know about us? Which in the sense, this means awareness, right? How many people know about Treble, for instance? How many people are starting to use our product recently? So that means adoption. And how many people keep using our product? Because you don't just want people to use your product, you also want them to stay and continue using, and of course bring their friends along. So these questions are they are simple, but they're deep. If you think about them and you ponder on it, you have a lot of insights on what to do next in your developing things. So thank you. Follow me on Twitter. I tweet about API, JavaScript, DevRel, and a bunch of other stuff. I have a YouTube for, of course, JavaScript things. And yeah, I have a JavaScript community. So if you're into JavaScript, you could join, and also you could check out my GitHub. Thank you.
Awesome. Kelvin, thank you so much.